Hello ladies and gentlemen, this is Leo here. Today I'm going to share with you this video that basically breaks down the 3 strategies of how to grow your Bitcoin. Plain and simple. Okay, I'm not going to make any promises, I'm not going to pitch you any program. The reason you're here is because you're at a point where you understand the value of Bitcoin. You understand how powerful it's become and how much it's being adapted into today's world. So you are just interested in what are the strategies that I can use to make that happen. I'm going to keep it a little bit broad, but at the same time, when you are thinking about what strategy do I want to grow my Bitcoin, you're going to have to take a few things into consideration, and I'll go through them as we get through the video, and particularly which strategies am I using. So you want to make sure that you understand these as you go through, and they're basically 3 simple ones. Number 1, you either acquire and hold strategy. So you acquire Bitcoin through taking your regular currency, going through an exchange where you take your dollars in this particular case, turn them into Bitcoin, and then put them into your Bitcoin wallet. Let them sit, and then let it watch as the price of it goes up. Then you actually make more money, right? I was very fortunate to do some of that, and obviously that's helped. Now, there is a slight risk that the price of Bitcoin goes down, that it goes up and down. So if you're in it for the short haul, it probably won't be a very good strategy. But if you're in it because you want to continue to grow it, or you want to be able to just hold it for the longer term, you may very well find yourself surprised that it actually grew. Now, this is not advice in terms of it actually going up or down. That's something that you'll have to kind of do an analysis on yourself and decide, do I think it's going to continue to go up? But all the quote-unquote experts, gurus, etc., predict that that price is going to continue to go up for a while. So the second way to acquire it is what a lot of businesses are doing now, is providing a service or product or whatever it is that they're doing and accepting Bitcoin for that. And then they accumulate it again in their wallet and then allow it to just continue to grow in the amount of Bitcoin and let the Bitcoin price continue to increase. And that's one strategy. So this is the acquire and hold strategy. The second strategy is what's called Bitcoin through mining. What that simply is that there's a transaction that happens from one Bitcoin wallet. It's got to go through the network. It's got to be verified. That transaction's got to be verified. And that process of verification, whoever is doing that, whatever computers are doing that, they get paid in Bitcoin. It's sort of like the old days where you used to mine gold. People would go mine gold, and some people would be paid in small amounts of gold. Very similar, and it's a very good analogy. And then from there, obviously that transfer happens to the other wallet. Now, mining used to be very profitable for people who were mining it as the beginning stages of Bitcoin happened, but as over time it's gotten a little bit more difficult, and in doing so, there's been companies that have popped up left and right and claimed to do mining when they in essence weren't really mining at all. So there's a lot of scams out there. So whether you go back to the person who shared this video with you, or if you don't have anybody and you want to contact me and find out which ones have been the reputable ones, then we'd be happy to share that info with you, and then you can decide if that's something that fits for you. But these can still be very profitable, and not only in Bitcoin, in other coins as well. So it's something to take into account. Relatively low risk, because if you're with a good company that's reputable, then you are going to have as long as this is profitable, then it will continue to be generating passively in a way your Bitcoin. Now, that's where the catch is, where it puts it into the medium categories. If you pick a company that's not really using a model that's sustainable or is not really doing the mining, then you run into problems, and they could go away, which has happened before. So Bitcoin through mining is the second strategy. The third strategy, we're moving up to the higher risk levels, is when you're doing through trading. So you have Bitcoin, it goes through some sort of exchange. Either you're changing for another cryptocurrency, or you're changing it back into fiat currency. You're buying it for less, selling it for more. You're trading it for another coin, waiting for that coin to go back up, and then after that, being able to get more value out of that. Those are the type of trading programs that there are. Now, you can do this yourself and do trading yourself, or you can have other groups that do it professionally and have the time, interest, focus, teams that will actually do the trading for you. Now, within those programs, there are a lot that are junk, and there are some that are very good, very legitimate. So In trading, historically, this has been the case where trading is always been a risk factor. So if the higher the return you're looking for, usually the more aggressive that strategy is being, and therefore there's more risk. So you got to take that into account. Okay, so when you're thinking about, do I want this to be a little more passively, that somebody else is doing it for me, or do I want to get into it myself, then those are two different approaches that you have toward trading. And obviously, if you're going to have somebody else do it for you, you want to be able to go into a program that's more reputable. So if you go back to the person who shared this with you, and they say, well, this is the ones that have worked for me, and these are the ones that seem to be paying out X, Y, and Z amounts, and they seem to be consistent, they seem to be doing the trading, then excellent. Now, you're still taking a risk, and it is up to you to make sure you take that into consideration. So things to take into consideration are pretty simple. Number one, what value is that program providing? Is it growing the distribution of Bitcoin? Is it something that is helping you grow your Bitcoins and actually doing the trading about the Bitcoin and other coins? Is it helping the community expand the adaptability of Bitcoin? Those are all things that, in my perspective, are value driven. Number two, trust. Do you trust that company, that they're going to be around for the long term? Are they being legitimate? Are they being transparent? Are they showing you that they're actually doing whether the trading or the mining or whatever it is that you're doing? Is it safe to keep your coins with that company? All those are things that are very important for you to take into consideration. Now, those are all just check marks. Doesn't mean that because they miss one that you wouldn't consider doing it, which we're going to talk about in just a minute, but you definitely want to take those into account. And the other is sustainability. Sustainability for that company to actually be around for the longer term. Or if you're doing a short strategy, some company that that gives you aggressive returns, but it's probably not going to be around for a long time, you take that into account, the longevity, and it all comes back to what's your risk versus your reward. Your risk versus your reward. Is the reward something that's worth the amount of risk that you are willing to take, whether in the trust factor, in the value factor, or in the longevity? Those are the ones to make sure that you take into account. Okay, so my personal risk assessment, and I have to say this part of it, this is a disclaimer, this is for educational and entertainment purposes only. It is not to be interpreted as advice of any sort. Please do your own due diligence. Take responsible action. There are no guarantees in any type of program or investment. You may lose your entire principal. Our goal here is to educate and help people understand more about the industry. So even though I'm saying that there's a low, a medium, and a high risk, you want to make sure that you also do your own due diligence. I think that the low ones for me fall into the exchanging fiat into Bitcoin, and then also providing services and being able to be paid in Bitcoin. The medium ones for me are the mining, because of their profitability, and also you want to be in a legitimate company that's actually doing it. Okay, and the high risks tend to be the trading, whether it's trading on your own or whether it's trading through another company. So keep that in mind as you're going. And if you're going to go into the high risks, then at least check in with somebody who's actually been in it and what they see as the pros and the cons. So do you understand what your risk is? You do that, then you're going to be in a much better position than if you just sort of went in blindly and were just led by the numbers. Okay? So what's next? Okay, number one is you got to start getting familiar with Bitcoin. You obviously at this point, I think, believe that you have a wallet. You already got some Bitcoin. You already know how to get it out through a debit card. If you don't know any of these, please ask and we'll be happy to help. Decide how you want to start growing it. Is it a buy and hold strategy? Is it a mining strategy? Is it a trading strategy? Or what ultimately I believe is the best, which is diversification. Diversification of your strategies. So you go from low risk to high risk, depending on your style. And then use it. Use whatever method whether you're trading, whether you're mining, whether you use it consistently. So that way you stay on top of it, keep yourself educated. So if you want help in any of these particular areas, obviously, I don't know where you're going to see this video, if somebody shared it with you, and if you did, it's good ethical practice for you to go back to them and say, hey, where are you in these particular areas? If you just happen to bump into this video and you don't have anybody to connect to, feel free to ask me and we'll be happy to share that with you. There'll be a way to contact us below this video. So I want to close this by saying that don't miss the boat. I missed the boat in 2009. I was just about to buy $100 worth of Bitcoin. I learned about it back in 2009. Had I done that today, that amount of Bitcoin would have been worth approximately about 26 million dollars. I didn't do it, didn't finish, didn't follow through. So which makes this particular statement even more true. And part of what I learned from it is I got to learn to take action. So Mark Zuckerberg, the CEO of Facebook, invited 5 people to his Harvard room 9 years ago to discuss a business opportunity. Only 2 people showed up and they got in. Today those 2 are billionaires, Dustin Moskovitz and Eduardo Severin, each one 6.5 and 3.5 billion worth. So nothing is really more expensive than a closed mind and a missed opportunity. Thinking about it for too long can cost you a whole lot of money and time. Taking action now, you can earn a whole lot. It is your choice. It is your life. It's up to you to make that decision today of what you want to do. Okay? So I definitely wish you the best. I hope that you're able to grow your Bitcoin and your other cryptocurrencies as much as possible. And if you have questions for some free resources there, I'll put the link at bodymindsuccess.com/Bitcoin. Feel free to check it out. All those resources there will be free for as long as possible. So I have no intent of charging for them. Just use them, benefit, and I wish you the best. So go back to the person who shared this video with you, get in contact with them, and see how they can help you out. Have an amazing day. Take care.